Hi, I'm Dr. Tiffany Young.
And I'm Dr. Megan Pickens.
And welcome to Empowered Convos, the podcast for high-achieving, high-powered Black women. We are licensed professional counselors and your empowered coaches for this podcast. Welcome to the Empowered Convos live launch podcast. We are here at Cup of Vibes, and we are your empowered coaches for this podcast. I'm Dr. Tiffany Young.
And I'm Dr. Megan Pickens.
And we are here with our fabulous live audience. Thank you guys so much for joining us. How was your week, Dr. Megan?
It was good, long, busy, all of the above.
As always. It is Friday, and we are so happy to be here with you guys today. So this podcast is for high-achieving, high-powered Black women who are mainly executives, but you can be anything to be a high-powered woman just in general. You can be at home and be a high-powered woman.
Yes, we talked about that. If you raised a whole bunch of kids, 3 or more, and they're all normal and they went to school and they're all right, then that's high-powered, high-achieving.
High-achieving, right? That's all it means, is that you have an abundance of confidence, that you have an abundance of achievement, that you want to go places, right? That's all it means to be a high-powered woman. And so that is the podcast that we are here to give you. We recognize that our clients, so we both see high-powered, high-achieving Black women.
Yes.
And we recognize that a lot of our clients don't have a good safe space to have these real and raw conversations. And that's why we wanted to have this podcast. So this is where you're going to come and have real, raw conversations, right?
And you are not expected to be strong here.
No, we rebuke everything strong on this podcast. we rebuke that. Okay.
Yes.
How many of you guys have had to be strong like every day?
Every day. Yeah.
Double hands.
Right.
Every day.
With the expectation of keeping it all together, looking flawless, being flawless, because we as Black women already are. And then you have to do everything perfectly without asking for help.
Right. And so we're just going to be here, relax. You see, we got on our Jordans. We chilling, right? And that's how we're going to be every podcast. That's how we're going to be every podcast. We are taking off the business suits. We are taking off the mask of having to walk around perfect. And we're just going to have real and raw conversations on this podcast.
Speaking of that, the battle just to even get here, a lot of this is about, us talking to ourselves. So it's not just about you guys, it's about us talking to ourselves. So
right.
That wardrobe malfunction on the way.
Forgetting our microphones.
I forgot that I didn't need.
That we didn't need. So just a lot. We're just not going to be perfect on this podcast. It's just not going to happen, right? So we're just going to be real people. Even though we have the DR in front of our names, I'm just Tiffany.
I'm just Megan.
That's who we're going to be. Okay? So, Dr. Megan, it's an important month for us in mental health.
It is. It is Suicide Prevention Month.
It is the month where we spend a heightened amount of time and we're more intentional about suicide prevention and how can we help just our clients, just the community in general, really focus on how do we save ourselves? How do we hold on? How do we keep going? How do we semicolon and keep going, right? And so this is a very important month in the mental health field where all of the professionals kind of just have a intense awareness on suicide prevention and we really focus on it.
And we focus it on us because we were talking earlier in our preparation for the show and Dr. Young looked up some information about the statistics about suicide among Black women. Mm-hmm. So what did you find?
So I found out that from 2018 to 2021, the suicide rate for Black people increased 19%.
Oh my.
Did y'all know that? No. 19% increase.
And we're 13% of the population.
Right.
Still.
Right.
So that's...
And so our population was the only one that increased. Everybody else actually went down. Why y'all think that is? We trying to be perfect? We trying to get help? We don't ask for help. We told that pray about it.
Oh my gosh.
Go to church.
Yes.
We're told to sweep everything under the rug. What happens in this house stays in this house.
To forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive. which there's nothing wrong with forgiveness, but some people just need to be X'd out the plan. They don't need more forgiveness. They've had forgiveness. They've had their 7 times 57. So
Right.
it's time for them to go. And that is not something we always hear, especially if we are expected to take care of other people and we are involved in church. And I don't have anything against church. I go to church, but I'm just saying that some of us need to get more aware and be more understanding of the people in the congregation and what they're actually going through.
And I think we as a culture just kind of, we're taught to turn the other cheek a lot of times.
Yes.
Like, it's like, just keep taking it and keep taking it and keep taking it. And I don't know about you, but I can only take so much. I don't know about y'all, I can only take so much.
Yes, because it'll start coming out in other physical ways.
Absolutely.
You know, it doesn't just happen to you mentally. That mental challenge that you have doesn't disappear, it doesn't evaporate. Your body will just keep the score. Like, there's a book called The Body Keeps the Score, but it basically does not disappear. It will go somewhere else in your body. And so when you're thinking in terms of weight gain, weight loss, loss of appetite, gaining appetite, not sleeping, all of those things can be symptoms of some untreated mental challenge. Even if it's not diagnosable, it's still a challenge to deal with somebody or not deal with grief. Yeah. There's a lot of grief, especially around the time COVID. A lot of people lost people unexpectedly. And not only did they lose people, but they lost resources and jobs and houses and a bunch of other things that people don't think about in terms of grief.
And I know with my clients, a lot of it is when you're high achieving and you're high powered, a lot of anxiety comes, right? And it comes out as aggression, comes out as outbursts. And then we're the angry black woman. That's their favorite word, right? we're the angry black woman. So being able to kind of self-regulate and not turn the other cheek all the time, I think that's what would have to do with our clients, you know, preventing suicide and being aware of some of the reasons why. I think there's an overwhelming feeling that no one cares about me.
Exactly.
Yeah, has anybody ever felt that? Like, nobody cares about me?
I have a girlfriend that says nobody checks on me. She says that all the time, like, check on your strong friends. And she says even when she tells people things, they say, oh, I thought you were all right because you look like you're handling everything flawlessly.
Because social media says you're fine.
Right.
Right.
Or you're still going to work every day, you're still maintaining, you look good, and all of the above, and so we don't think you need anything else.
Like, you're functioning. You're functioning, and so everybody thinks that you're okay. But when you brought up a good point, people say check on your strong friends, but what does that actually look like?
Well, just because for us, we both run practices, they're successful practices, and just because of that, people might say, oh, well, you don't need a vacation, or we don't need to check on you, or we don't ask you to hang out because you're always doing something. That's the one I hear. Oh, you're always out and about, so I don't, try to hang because I know you're busy. Thinking that I won't make time for, like, one-on-ones because I love that and I need that. Right.
I think providing a safe space for just high achievers in general to just be authentic, because I know that's what I want, right?
Yes.
Just because I'm a therapist, I always say don't make my profession who I am.
Oh my God.
Right? Like, I'm just a person, I'm just Tiffany, and when I'm out, that's all I just want to be. I just want to be my authentic self. And so when we're talking about checking on your strong friends, it's all about getting in the trenches with them, because they're not going to ask you for help. It's not going to happen.
Man, and they're not going to like it either. I don't like asking for help.
You're right. It's embarrassing sometimes, and it makes you feel like you don't have control.
Exactly.
And it is the opposite of high achieving, right? To have to ask for help. It's the complete opposite. So getting in the trenches with them, and just sometimes you just don't have to do, right? Sometimes you're not even gonna have to sometimes you're gonna have to sit there. Sometimes you're just gonna have to ask, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? 1,000,000 times until we just break down and say, absolutely not. I'm not okay.
Or are you okay? No, are you really okay?
Right.
That's probably a better question. So if you have strong friends and you think they look great and they're telling you they're okay, but you might even have some insight into something that's going on for them, ask them, like, pointedly, say, no, I am here for you for real. Are you really okay?
Right. Because we don't understand. I mean, strong people don't understand that. Are you okay? We don't understand that question. Yeah, we okay. What you mean? Right? What you mean? Yeah, we're okay. We're fine. Okay? Yeah. Perfectly fine. Everything's peachy.
I went to work today, came home, made it all right.
Everything's good. So I wanted to get into a topic of kind of like, how do we save ourselves? Because I think the main thing that high achieving, high powered women deal with is the Superwoman syndrome, right? The strong Black woman syndrome. That's what we deal with. And so how do we save ourselves from that? Right? How do we save ourselves from that? How do we help us to not be that strong Black woman? How do we kind of get rid of that? How do we make sure that we are asking for help as much as possible? Right? How do we do that? Right? What are y'all's ideas before we start talking?
Exactly.
What are some of y'all's ideas? How do we stop that? How do we get rid of that? How do we get that out of our DNA? Because it is in our DNA.
It is. Yes.
I think a good practice would be to journal. I know for me, before I get out of my head, I need to make sure I'm writing down everything that I feel in that moment, try to analyze that, and then I'll bring it to my friends, kind of soundboard, and move on from there if I need further help.
Yeah.
So, journaling.
Journaling is like one of my favorite things. I love to journal. I have 1 billion journals. Every time I go to the store, it's like I'm buying a journal. So I love journaling. That's a good one. And you bring up a good point. So a lot of people like to talk about self-care, right? Self-care, that is like a trendy word right now. Self-care is like such a trendy word. But when we think about self-care, a lot of the things that we do as Black women, or just in general, is maintenance. We do a lot of self-maintenance and not a lot of self-care, right? So how many of us go get our nails done regularly? And we say, oh, I'm self-care day, and go get our hair done and self-care day. Well, that's really maintenance, because we're going to do that anyway.
Exactly. Yes.
You're not going out
But
here.
it can be a treat sometimes.
It's a
It just
treat.
can't be your only.
Yeah, it's a treat.
outlet. Yeah.
But we're going to do that anyway. So I looked up, Dr. Megan, I looked up the word care in the dictionary, right? And when I looked that up, it was much deeper than getting our hair and our nails done. So care, the word actually means concern. It means attention. It means preservation. So when you're thinking about self-care every day, you want to think about, how can I preserve myself? How can I provide myself with attention? How can I have concern for myself? Right? And yeah, getting your hair and your nails done, yeah, that is having concern for yourself, because you're not going out looking crazy, right? We're not doing that. We got to go out snatched, right? But how can you truly have concern for yourself? And some of that may be what we talked about, what you talked about, getting rid of certain people, right? Because if I have concern for myself and you don't have concern for me, you got to go.
Exactly.
You got to go. So getting rid of certain people.
Boundaries.
What?
Which is kind of a buzzword, but
It
it's
is.
also a very true word.
A very true word.
And I think that we are taught to let our boundaries be very low, because we're so busy taking care of everybody else. And then, you know, in our culture, you don't disagree with your elders. So a lot of us are kind of in that mid-age, you're an adult, but your parents still see you as 13. And so if you disagree with them, it's often met with signs of disrespect or, I don't know, just clapbacks all the time. And so that is one of the big things that I'm finding, definitely at my age, and all my friends are kind of around my age. So we're that sandwich generation. So we have either young kids or young adult kids, and then we have our parents, and we're right there in the middle, being responsible for anything and everything. And, you know, not saying things to our parents that we maybe needed to say, but we were taught not to say them.
We absolutely were. And I mean, even my mom now calls me little girl, and I'm almost 40 years old, right? But I get what you're saying, right? That don't disrespect, you know, your elders. And so we have a hard time sometimes having boundaries, right? Just in general. I think, you know, what you talked about before is that we will give people chance after chance after chance after chance, and go back to those relationships and we will be so unaligned, right, with what we are supposed to do, that we will take that relationship back. Yes. We will stay at that job that is hurtful, right? That is stressing us out. We will stay at that job, or we will stay in that relationship that hurts us, because we don't want to say the magic word, no.
Right. And we talk about boundaries as therapists all the time, and a lot of the challenge for people is setting boundaries with people they love. So it's very easy to set a boundary. I can set a boundary with somebody who works somewhere that I don't know, but let it be my friend or boyfriend or husband or any of that, then it's a lot harder. And so people get really frustrated with setting boundaries because they think, well, I can't cut this person out of my life, so how do I deal with them? I just have to take it.
Right.
And then they keep taking it and they keep taking it, and that frustration builds, and sometimes it comes out misplaced or it is self-reflected on themselves, and so depression and anxiety.
And self-harm.
Yes.
And sometimes even suicide, unfortunately. Right? So we talked about self-care. Remember, self-care, again, is concern for yourself. It's attention for yourself, right? Giving yourself attention that you're looking for from outside people, right? Oftentimes we're looking for attention outside when self-care should be self-attention. Give yourself the attention that you're wanting from other people, right? And then also preservation. I think that's the big one for me.
Yes.
Preservation. How am I going to preserve myself today? Right? How am I going to preserve myself every single day? And that means eating right, exercising, all those good things that we do to preserve ourselves.
Therapy.
Yes, therapy. Right? Therapy.
True self-care.
True self-care. Yes, therapy, getting those emotions out and making sure that you are preserving yourself.
Yes.
Okay? The other thing I think that we need to bring up, another point, is strong women or high achieving women often want to fix things.
Yes. People. You mean things or people?
Things and people.
Yes.
Nouns. We want to fix nouns.
Okay.
People, places, and
People,
things.
places. I love it.
And so I want to encourage you guys to stop taking on assignments that don't belong to you.
Oh, yes.
Right? And I'm about to hurt feelings, and that people didn't even ask you to take on.
Oh, okay. You said something right there. Because there are so many people who have sat across from me angry and upset, feeling disrespected and unappreciated. And I'm saying, well, they didn't ask you to do that. You did it with the expectation of getting something back.
Right.
Which is not necessarily bad, but in cases of what we're talking about, then you're just doing it looking benevolent, but you're really mad because they haven't reciprocated, but they didn't ask you to do it.
Right. And so we often see a problem and we like, dun, dun, dun. I have to be the one to solve it.
Put on the cape.
Right? We got to put on the cape and solve it. And then we're disappointed when the person doesn't do what we want them to do, or they don't excel the way we want them to excel. Even after we fix the problem, they go mess it up again.
Or they don't say thank you.
They don't say thank you.
They're not appreciative.
Well,
of
the
that.
problem is they didn't ask us to do it in the first place. So
That's my
why would
point.
they say thank you? So stop picking up assignments that don't belong to you. That's why you're stressed, because it don't belong to you, and you have your own stuff on your plate.
Yes.
We all have our own stuff on our plate, and then here we go picking up other people's stuff, And once we look at that, our plate is this high, and they over here chilling with their dessert while we have all this broccoli on our plate that we got to eat, right? So don't pick up other people's problems and other people's issues, and rebuke the need to fix.
Yes.
Right? Rebuke it. You don't have to fix everything. I made a post on my page once that said, just because there's a problem doesn't mean you have to fix it.
Agreed.
Sometimes you have to let the sink ship. The ship sink. Say that 5 times fast. Okay? Sometimes you have to let the ship sink, right? And let people do what they're going to do.
Exactly.
And we have to be okay with it. I think that's the other thing.
And actually, if you just try it, putting stuff down is really fun. When you just worry about your own business and mind your own business,
Right.
It is actually pretty relaxing. As somebody who used to do that, it's like, oh, I don't.
As somebody
I don't
who
care.
hasn't been delivered yet,
I don't care.
I'm gonna try.
I'm getting there. It just every year it gets better, and I'm just like, I don't know.
But we have that guilt about not fixing, especially when it's somebody close to us, right? Like it's a family member or it's a loved one. We have guilt that we didn't help them.
But
right?
therapists don't, because everything is perfect for us.
Is it really? Oh, you matter, no, right?
Yes.
So I don't want us to think that we shouldn't care, right? We shouldn't care about other people. That's a great thing for us to care about other people. But sometimes you have to really go in yourself and say, I don't care. I just don't care.
Or not even that you don't care, but just match energy. Because that is another lesson. Match energy. So if you are giving all the energy and the person is not giving energy, or they're giving a lot less, then just match what they're doing.
Right.
Because they're either going to step up to bring the energy level back up, or you're both just going to have that nice little coasting, mediocre, whatever you want to call it, level of energy. But if you just match people with how they treat you, that will relieve a lot of the anxiety and depression when you're dealing in terms of saying no to people and setting boundaries with people.
Right. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I'm just saying everybody might not be there. We have to give stuff
Meet
to people
you where you are.
Yes, we have some people who are on their way.
Skills.
Yeah, yeah. Because I don't care,
Right.
but everybody else isn't, and it took me time to get there.
It took me time to get there too. Well, Dr. Megan, I want to talk about our drink for today.
Yes.
Right? So we've talked about a lot, but we are at Cup of Vibes in Arlington.
Black owned.
Black owned, yes. And they have been so gracious to us. And we have Empowered tea, and it's really good.
Yes.
It's delicious.
Come order it.
Please.
And then say that you got it from this bomb-ass podcast.
Right.
I almost made it without cussing.
You almost made it. Almost cussed several times.
I know. It was hard. We did so good because we are really a bunch of sailors. I don't know. The online one might not be this clean. I don't know what happened today. Maybe because we're in front of the camera.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know what we were trying to do today.
So we're at Cup of Vibes. We want to thank our gracious hosts. We really appreciate them letting us have our live audience here, and give yourselves a hand. Where can they reach us?
They can reach